We're back, guys, with the coverage of YCS Bochum 2018. It's round number 6. Can you believe it? It's 20 minutes past 7 p.m. and it's round number 6 for us.
Yeah.
It's just lots and lots of overtime. I actually said it in the last video. There is a chance that we have to move one round to tomorrow.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Seems like it's shaping up that way.
Yeah.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, however. We have an interesting feature match for you guys. Let's maybe bring that up. These are some of the top tables. And these are tables, let me double check. Mr. Calovini is table 26. So we're looking at table 26 and following. So you can tell, again, we have a very nice variety of decks towards the top. We're going to be moving a little bit further down because this is our feature match for the round. We got Jakob Geigenberger on the left-hand side, table 32. And he's going up against Viktor Trautwein, also from Germany. He has been topping events before, and he's playing ABC this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure that Tom will be able to tell us about ABCs. He loves ABC.
I'm a really big fan of ABC. Yeah, I've played a lot of ABC. I've played it particularly with Invoked. But this time, we're actually seeing a little bit of a reshuffle on what we saw last round, in that this is an ABC True Draco deck.
Wow.
But the Light Swan deck that we see on the other side of the table isn't so much like the Light Swan deck that we saw the last time, whereas before we saw the zombie cards with Mizukis and Uni zombies and Shiranui. This time, we've got some dinosaurs in the mix. We've got Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, we've got Oviraptor, we've got the new Overtex Coatless, and the big evolution pills that are just able to throw out those huge dinosaurs directly from the deck.
Wow. This is you know, we said it before that, you know, we are picking these exciting different matches, but we are really seeing different versions of a lot of these decks.
And at the top,
really cool.
We're talking about table 32. So if these guys can hang on table 32, they're going to be in the top cut tomorrow.
Yeah.
Very good chance for them. All right, guys. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the decks and the side decking options in just a few minutes. Let's go over to the feature match area and get started with it. All right, so here you have Jakob Geigenberger on the left with his Light Swan Dinosaurs and Viktor Trautwein on the right with True Draco ABC. So what do you think? Which deck is favored in this matchup? Luke or Thomas?
Yeah, it depends who goes first, I think.
Okay. Do you think is playing a major role here?
Yeah, I think
they both want to go first, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think the True Draco deck is going to have a bit more of a chance going second. But with the ABC engine, yeah, I think that maybe wants to go first, try and establish a Dragon Buster. But Tom looks confused, which means I'm probably wrong.
So typically, this game can be really quickly decided by Fairy Tale Snow. If you're able to lock out an ABC player from using their extra monster zone by putting something face down whilst it can't get itself out of there, you can be left in a position where the ABC player can't play anything. Their whole engine gets switched off. But with the addition of the True Draco cards that we see here, just locking something down face down isn't necessarily going to fix that zone out of being able used, because you can just activate a True Draco spell and tribute summon your masterpiece and get rid of the thing that was blocking that extra monster zone. So
yeah, that's quite clever.
There's counterplay to be had there, and it really lessens the power of what is the most important part of any of these 60-card Light Swan decks.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we do see the hands loading in with our volunteers. You can see them in the tiny little pictures in the corner. They are adding all the cards to the app.
So Viktor is starting. So the True Draco ABC player is starting. He's going to be opening Brilliant Fusion, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, 2 copies of Effect Vader. Haven't seen that card all weekend.
No.
Not a strong hand for Viktor there.
No, especially not going first.
So typically, as an ABC deck, you want to find your way into a non-tuner, very easy, a Destrudo to make your level 7 Synchro, but you need a field spell to really get things going. Otherwise, you can summon an Ancient Fairy Dragon, but you don't have anything to do with it. Here, I don't know what Viktor might be able to do with this. It depends what light targets he has in his deck for Brilliant Fusion. Oh, no, he's decided
He's
to
just passing play.
pass the turn on the hope that he can use Effect Veiler to mitigate whatever Jakob has planned and evenly match to clear up the board afterwards.
Yep.
We interviewed somebody after the last feature match, and he said this happened to him once, that an opponent passed on his very first turn, and he immediately won the game, basically. It's like, I can attack, I got 6 cards, this is just brilliant.
Yeah, evenly matched doesn't do a whole lot against 8,000 attack on board.
Right. So we see the grass looks greener in Jakob's hand. That's gonna hit play very soon, I guess. Probably after that Lone Fire Blossom that he also had. He's got like everything, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The game is over this turn.
Okay.
Yeah,
Even if we don't see 8,000 damage, the game is over.
Okay. And evenly matched doesn't change a thing.
It depends on the setup that Jakob goes for here. He has 2 options. He can either push for putting through 8,000 damage this turn, or he can set up a board. If he does choose to set up a board, it would be very greedy to go to the battle phase after his opponent has gone first and done nothing.
Interesting.
So what do you what do you think is the best line of plays here for Jakob then? What if you're thinking to yourself, okay, he just passed, he might have evenly matched. What is Jakob going to end on here?
It depends entirely on what he gets with that grass looks greener. There
Right.
are so many variables when you're sending 20 cards to the grave that you just can't say what your plan is until you've seen the cards that you have to play with.
Right. Okay, so far so good. Almost no interrupts. I mean, Viktor does have the 2 copies of Effect Veiler. When does he want to bring those out?
There's some argument for using an Effect Veiler. Is it once per turn the effect of Omega? I don't think it is, so no.
Once per turn during the main phase.
Okay, yeah. So he could have used the Effect Veiler there to fix the Omega into the extra monster zone. But obviously, Viktor at this point doesn't know that there's a grass about to come down.
Yeah. If the only thing is the Omega, then
Yeah. It would be throwing away an Effect Veiler unless he knew that locking out the extra monster zone was actually good.
I don't know if anyone else saw Victor's eyebrows
Yeah.
just now, but
Yeah.
he was a bit like, oh, okay.
He looked like an animated character with
Yeah.
like sad face.
Yeah. With that exact sound effect.
Yeah.
You feel sort of cheated now if they have the grass in hand right away. You expect sometimes you'll see the left arm offering and they'll banish their entire hand for it, but when they just have that one copy and you're like, it didn't even cost anything.
Right. I practiced that sound yesterday.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's a good sound.
It was when Paolo was asking for a review about the food. All right. So there's a bit of a discussion. Now the card resolves. Okay. Okay, let's see.
There's 2 things
There's a
in the
wolf.
first 3.
Way to go.
There's an Overtex. There's another
There's
wolf.
another wolf. Oh my god. I'm with Thomas on this one, by the way. I think this match might be over.
Yeah,
I'm switching sides.
You're switching. What do you mean switching sides?
Yeah, I want to be on the winning side this one.
Okay.
So I think that was...
You be on that side. Go, Victor.
That was at least 4 hits with the grass there.
Yeah. I like those odds.
I'll be on Victor's side then. No one else will.
Yeah. You have to stand with the underdog.
Yeah.
I mean, not generally speaking, just in this particular situation, he
Yeah.
comes across a little bit like the underdog.
I don't mind going down with the sinking ship that is Victor's hopes and dreams. That's okay.
This is only game 1.
I can be that.
Yeah, exactly. It's only game 1. And then, as we all know, Jakob is going to side into some risky stuff. Going to lose game 2. And then it's anybody's game in game 3.
So we see Chainlink 1 Wolf, Chainlink 2 Wolf, Chainlink 3 Overtex, Chainlink 4 Performage.
It's a lot of hits. I mean, it couldn't have gone that much better for him.
He really wanted to find a snow. Aside from that, it was perfect, but just finding that first copy of Fairy Tale Snow really puts you in a position to control the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he milled 16 cards.
Right. Yeah, not the full 20 because there was some searching going on before.
Now we see the dinosaur stuff. There's the big evolution pill.
Mm-hmm.
Did he hit both copies of his Overtex? There was one card that I wasn't quite sure what it was.
I think it was only one.
Okay.
Because I think the judges entered all the cards that were relevant to the app. I mean, nobody asked them to put down 16 cards if 12 of them don't really play a role.
Yeah, honestly, I there was a few of the cards myself that I couldn't quite see.
At this point, just summoning an ultimate conductor would be 300 short of lethal, I believe. We've got 42 from 2 wolves, 35 from an ultimate conductor would be 77. So if there's another monster, then that's game.
Man, I don't like those odds for Viktor.
300 life points. Who needs life points?
We see the Giant Rex being banished. Obviously, it can't attack directly, but it will be able to be overlaid with the Trick Clown for any rank 4 that has an attack point. Well, 300 attack points.
Wasn't Giant Rex
Cowboy for game. It's going to be Cowboy for game.
Giant Rex was used, yeah.
Was Giant Rex used for the summon of the Omega?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yes, with the gold sarcophagus.
Yeah.
Right, you are.
So that plan is foiled, but there are still a few other options.
Perhaps it would have been better to banish instead one of the Oviraptors. Does he have Utopia? Utopia would be enough for game here?
Jakob has...
Number 39
number
Utopia.
39.
Yeah, that would be just 100 over game, in fact.
Yep.
He's got a very interesting version of Utopia, which is spelled with a B. It's an Utopia.
Utopia. Yeah, and then lightning as well. Not that that really makes too much of a difference.
Yeah, it looks
Just wants
cooler.
to throw off.
Yeah, it does look nice. And it's an ultimate rare one, so that's nice.
Coming from the person who celebrated a dual terminal Trishula.
Oh, yeah, those are two very different things. Dual terminal Trishula is just on another level.
Is it?
Yeah. At least it has a level. This guy doesn't even have a level.
And that is it. Game number 1 is already in the bag. We've seen a couple of those explosive openings this weekend. This is not the fastest game one we've seen. I think that was like 6 minutes. That was like 2 rounds ago or something like that.
Yeah, this is pretty spectacular opening here.
Yeah, going really, really strong for Jakob Geigenberger with his Lightsworn dinosaurs. And actually we did see both the Lightsworns and the dinosaurs having an impact in this first game.
It's all a bit of everything.
Yeah, so now it's going to be side decking. Both of these guys... Oh, there's a side deck with a couple of different cards for Viktor, whereas Jakob is a little bit more sticking to only as few cards as possible, with the exception of 1 Raigeki, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Imperial Order. And then he's got 3 copies each of Artifact Lancia.
Twin Twister, Anti-Spell Fragrance, and Dimensional Barriers.
Yeah.
But Jakob, of course, doesn't know what to side here.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't see any card other than Evenly Matched coming down for Viktor, so Jakob doesn't know what he's up against here.
Did he even see the evenly matched?
Yeah, I didn't see evenly matched.
Evenly Matched was banished by the effect of Omega.
Oh, right, okay.
So he revealed 1 card from...
Good point, yeah.
From Viktor's hand.
And out of all the cards, this is probably the one
generic.
that gives like the least information. Good point, yeah. So for Jakob, he's going to be under a smoke screen no matter what his opponent is doing. Doesn't matter if he's siding into 15 cards and taking out 15 or not. He always doesn't know what's happening. Okay, what about Viktor? What is he going to bring in? We can see 2 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Then we got Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. Invoked Mechaba, Raigeki, True Draco Heritage. Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix, 2 copies of Torrential Tribute, 3-Dimensional Barrier, and 1 Solemn Judgment. Lots of options.
Yep. I'd be really keen to see Torrential Tributes brought in to play first. At this point, Jakob might be expecting to be told to play first, because decks that main deck Evenly Matched are often designed to play second. So he might expect Viktor to choose second here. But as an ABC deck, I would be thinking that Viktor's more likely to play first.
Right. Could be a bit of an advantage for him, just a tiny bit. letting Jakob think that he can go first when he can't.
Yeah, Viktor opening up with the Brilliant Fusion again. He just loves them effect veilers.
Yeah. And he's got a bit of everything. He's got ABC cards, he's got a Masterpiece.
Viktor's hand is much better this time around than we saw on the previous game.
Yeah.
So he's got access to Decode and ABC Dragon Buster this time.
So he starts with the Brilliant Fusion.
Unless he decides that he'd rather develop towards Masterpiece.
All right.
So
We've seen that before.
What do you think is the better option? Masterpiece or...
I'm a big fan of the ABC Dragon Buster. I'd get straight on that train. And the Brilliant Fusion will still be stuck around next turn. If he doesn't have many other options, he can just throw down a Masterpiece out of nowhere. It will be really unexpected at that point.
He's going for it.
Straight for the Saryuya.
Nice. That's very nice.
And he has effects of both A and B in the graveyard.
Yeah, that's so good.
Oh, it seems that he's chosen only to activate the effect of B. So that suggests that he's reckoning on finding the C and having a way of getting it to the graveyard.
Yeah, so he is relying on going up to the Dragon Buster straight away.
Again, I'm not sure that I entirely agree with this line of play. Saryuya, we know, is a great card for fixing hands that don't have what they need, but I feel like he was more in a position where he wants to establish a board that interacts with his opponent. If he activated the effect of A, he'll be able to get back that B and use Saryuya to special summon the C, maybe link through proxy into a Decode, and he'd still have access to Decode Buster. But perhaps he's just deciding that he doesn't want to climb up through the links and he just wants to special summon that C direct from his hand and have ABC. He's used both of his normal summons at this point, so the Masterpiece is stuck in his hand unless he can find his way to an extra normal summon.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that set rotation?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So he'll have Dragonic Diagram and
Yeah.
Union Hanger in the deck.
Quite interesting.
Yeah,
this,
he's got
this
quite a lot of
opening.
choices here.
He can go so many ways with this hand.
Yeah. If he decides to continue on with the set rotation or...
Yeah, if he uses the set rotation and finds himself a diagram, he'd be able to get to that True Draco Heritage, give himself an extra normal summon, and potentially end his board with both Masterpiece and ABC Dragon Buster as pieces of interaction.
I think that would be pretty solid.
Yeah, but now we see some interaction.
Okay, this still, I think it's okay. You can still do the same thing just without Saryuya, right?
Yeah. Only ending with one extra deck monster. He's fine, even if he doesn't have the link arrows from the Saryuya.
Yep. What did he give him? Give him a Union Hanger. Definitely not going to be able to activate that. If he is, then I'm sure Viktor's going to be very confused.
So I expect to see Dragonic Diagram. You're able to activate Union Hanger even if you don't use the search, but with no field spells for Jakob, he has no need to.
Yep.
So I expect it to remain set to continue to shut down Viktor's field spells for the rest of the game. So we'll see Dragonic Diagram here, destroying the Majesty Maiden to be able to search. Oh no, he doesn't have Masterpiece in hand. He must have put that back with the Saryuya earlier.
Yeah.
It just took a while for it to update on the app. That's interesting.
Yeah. He can take the Heritage and tribute C for the Majesty Maiden.
That seems not as good as Masterpiece.
No, certainly not.
I feel like he's going down in number of cards instead of up.
Yeah, he's slowly but surely losing advantage here.
This feels like yet another example of times when Saryuya has been summoned because it could, not necessarily because it should.
Yeah, I very much agree with that.
It seems to be a pattern this weekend.
People are obsessed with the fact that drawing 4 cards and putting 3 back is pretty good. Okay, let's be clear. but there's a time and a place. If you can happily summon it without losing too much advantage, then it's great. But people seem to be consolidating too many resources into this and thinking that they can overcompensate for that, consolidation of resources by this draw 4, put 3 back.
It reminds me of the times when Painful Choice was legal, where some players would just wait to activate Painful Choice rather than like playing it on the first possible moment. And then they would search for 5 cards that would all mean that I win the game. Like these situations where you had stuff like Raigeki, Monster Reborn, Snatch Steal, Change of Heart, stuff like that. And you have like just 5 completely broken cards and the opponent's like, oh, it doesn't matter what I do. It's like, I just lost the game no matter what card I'm handing you.
Yep.
The Painful Choice seems like a card that you definitely play just because it's so fantastic, whereas Saryuya, in a lot of ways, I don't like from a top-level perspective putting it into any of my decks. It feels like if I have a hand that is able to summon a Link monster using 4 different named monsters from my side of the field, I probably had everything that I needed to summon a board full of interactions. It's a hand-fixing card that you can only summon if your hand was great to start with.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 4-material monster. Well, you need 4 materials to make it good.
Sounds like the plot of one of these time loop movies, where we're going back in time to fix something when it wasn't broken in the first place.
Yep.
It's like the Yu-Gi-Oh version of these movies.
Don't get me wrong, there's some great decks that use it and like abuse it as part of their combo. But yeah, I think so far we've only seen it be played where people have done it, as you say, just because they could.
I think, on the contrary, when we saw it from the fairy player, the
oh
Herald,
yes, that was that's a
it
good point.
Used
That was
very effectively in that round.
Yeah, because of Christia.
But I'm not a huge fan of any of the other times that we've seen it hitting the board.
That's a good point. It was really good.
Yep, one of the easy ways to shut down this Predaplant combo, mainstay of any of these 60-card decks. If you can shut down this combo, and you don't even take the -1 from the Effect Veiler because they still have to pay the cost of discarding.
Right.
It really slows the deck down a lot.
So Jakob is suddenly really low on resources, and for a change, his graveyard isn't bigger than his deck.
Yeah.
He's forced to find something with that Foolish Burial.
And Diagram, very powerful card's going to start causing issues because Viktor's going to get a search every single turn from it.
We see Overtex Coatless coming down here, find a new Evolution Pill. That Evolution Pill gives him the choice of a second Overtex or a Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Huge beat sticks, very powerful effect either way. Now, Overtex, I know, certainly has very restrictive summoning conditions, but the Double Evolution Pill completely ignores the summoning conditions.
It's such a good card. Let's bring it up for you guys again. Just banish a dinosaur and a non-dinosaur monster from your hand. Ooh, this is really hard to remove.
Hand or graveyard.
Yeah, hand or graveyard, yeah. Most of the time that's graveyard, and then you special summon one level 7 or higher. Somebody must have misprinted that. It should be this level 1 or lower, maybe. Instead of level 7 or higher dinosaur monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I think this is like the best search effect from your deck to summon something to the field immediately.
Yeah.
Like, there's never been anything like that. When you think of the days when you had Mystic Tomato, which had to be destroyed in battle, and then you could search, and it would be like 1,400. Yeah. And here it's just like any gigantic beatstick.
Yeah.
Easily.
We see Evolution Pill. Back when we were doing what we wanted to see winning this weekend.
Right, yeah.
My suggestion for what I'd like to win, Shadow Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Just see it's a deck that goes second so amazingly well because you can activate the Shadow Fusion, sending any Shadow monster and the Overtex to summon Winder to your side of the field. Overtex searches you for the Double Evolution Pill, and you already have a Dinosaur and a Shadow, which is a spellcaster in your grave, to activate that pill straight away. So for your 1-card investment of Shadow Fusion, you get yourself El Shadow Winder and your choice of either Overtex Coatless or Ultimate Conductor Tyranno.
Why is nobody playing this? I'm about to sleeve up with this deck. I'm convinced already.
We're halfway there. We got Light Swan Dinosaurs. It's close enough.
You just wait for the day when one guy is going to be combining Lightsworn, Dinosaurs, and Shadows.
Oh.
I've seen it happen.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great fun deck to play.
Please tell me it played BLS.
Well, BLS doesn't actually suit the deck so well. It's a 60-card deck, so inherently drawing any one specific card is pretty unlikely. And the deck is all about having these big, powerful monsters that you have easy access to when you need them through the double evolution pill. BLS filled a spot in decks in the past of being a very high attack monster that you could summon from your hand, but it just wasn't reliable. And the deck's now becoming ever more streamlined. You need to have something that you can search when you need it, not just draw on the off chance that it happens to suit the situation.
There you go.
I just want to play BLS because he's awesome.
Look at me. We are just smiling because we saw Raphael Nevin being invited over to the feature match area. He's finally getting that interview that he asked for 15 times today. And it's going to be in the written coverage, which is a good reminder that you guys can check out the written coverage of this event. We do have a written coverage where you can find duelist profiles, lots of timeless articles, really, that you can read like in 2 months, and they're still going to be entertaining and good. Like learn more about decks too, but mostly about players and why they played the decks they are playing this weekend. So it's a lot about decision making and getting to know someone.
Yeah. I was actually in the written coverage for YCS Paris.
That's
Which YCS Paris?
2010.
No, 2014 was it?
This is that bad.
Mermail format.
Yeah,
I was at that one.
2014. Yeah, I was playing Fernity.
Ah, yes. That was the day of the release for Dragons of Legend, but it wasn't legal for that event.
Correct. We then went on to play a build with Soul Charge in Infernity, which made it bonkers.
Yeah, we had a week or two where you had 3 Archfiend and triple Soul Charge.
Yeah, and a regional every single weekend. It was great.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah, I actually ended up losing on the bubble in day 2 to Dark World of all things. He won the die roll, went first, and started with 4 trap cards in games 1 and 3.
Yeah, certainly wasn't a deck that we were expecting to see much of at the time. The format was mainly comprised of Mermails and Gear.
Yeah, Gear was
I recall people rushing around all looking for Black Horn of Heaven to side deck for the Gear matchup.
Yeah,
that was a thing for a little while.
Yeah.
All right, so we see some attacks connecting here. Viktor is down to 2,300, but he almost evened the odds with Jakob now going down to 3,250. And of course, Viktor has the field. He just, I mean, he's got some back row. Not super impressive, but a true King's Return. So this is clutch time for Jakob. He needs something. He has a Raiden and a Soul-Eating Oviraptor in hand.
So he does play a dinosaur kaiju monster to be able to search with his Oviraptor, but you can only kaiju the Buster Dragon or the Masterpiece.
Right. This must be the same conclusion that he ended up on. So now it's a 1-1 between Jakob and Viktor, and we're going to a game 3. Isn't that what we predicted at the very beginning when you? Oh no, sorry, you were on Team Viktor.
Yeah, I'm Team Viktor.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, you're a true fan.
Yeah.
Took you only like 2 minutes to realize that your team was winning.
Yeah. It's nice. He's got ABC Dragon Buster. He's rocking it.
He is. All right, let's see. Maybe we can see some sideboarding action here. What's gonna go?
Every round we get a bit of sideboarding action in.
No, but here we can actually see what's happening. Yeah.
Viktor is taking out his trap card floodgates. I just saw skill drain being flipped out.
TT as well.
So he'll be expecting Jakob to be going first, and we see Raigeki going in.
Yep, all the math removals in spell card form just went in. So we had a pretty good look there. Did we see anything for Jakob on the other side of the field?
Jakob may be taking out hand traps at this point. Obviously, they aren't going to do anything for him going first, and he'll want to streamline his deck to find the best setup plays rather than being able to stifle, as in the previous game, the turn 1 from Viktor.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of cards to look through. It must be hard to side deck as a 60-card deck. It's easy to pick what to take out, but you got to look through a lot of cards to find what you want.
It's one of those decks where you need to have a boarding plan going into the event, not making it up as the event moves on. You need to like have a firm idea of what you want to side prior to the event.
Absolutely. It takes long enough just to find the cards you'll want to side out, let alone look through and decide.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Shuffling around 60 cards and just blankly looking at them, it must be way worse than doing it in 40. Because I know I've done that a number of times, just looking at your 40 cards and going, what do I take out here?
Yeah. I've got pretty good results in playtesting when you're playing with the side deck in the main deck the whole time, and just not care about the initial match so much or the initial game so much, and then when the match is happening, you don't doubt yourself. This is also important. If you learned in testing that this is the ideal build for this particular matchup, you just go with it. Don't question yourself in that moment. This is not the time for second guessing.
Yeah,
you just
plan it out.
Yeah. Go with your boarding plan, just close your eyes, just go through with it, and then just see what happens. And most of the time, good things are happening.
At YCS Liverpool, I was testing with a similar strategy going into it, where I had the side deck and the main deck. I just left it in for the event.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. I remember that.
Oof, that's not good. That's not
I
good.
forgot to mention this. We got all the way to round 6, and I forgot to mention this, that Tom Rose is actually part of one of my favorite clubs of Yu-Gi-Oh! That I bring the deck that everyone else isn't playing and won the event. Same as Ido Marcus at the Dublin European Championships.
Valence Le
Tertre as well, yeah. And my favorite one was Hansel Aguero back in 2010. He was the inventor, quote-unquote inventor of Tech Genis Stun.
You can also add the event in Milan where Gigia won. Was Sam Pedigo, or what was his name? Sorry, I might be mixing it up. It was the American player that came over.
Yeah, I think Sam Pedigo is his name.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, I take every apology back.
Yeah. Hansel Aguero is my favorite one. He in a format that was only plant synchro, he brought this crazy Tech Genis deck that was all about him just summoning his Tech Genis monsters and then attacking with Horn.
Oof, 2 Wolf.
Oh, that's not good.
And the left arm offering for Jakob.
That sounds like he's got the cost lined up for his left arm already. It doesn't matter which cards you banish.
Oof.
You just have to have 2 of them.
There's the Snow.
So we'll see Snow coming out onto the board here to dodge the left arm, and then I think he's just going to throw away the rest of his hand. He doesn't need it. Do we see an Ash Blossom on the other side? No, we do not. It's time to mill some cards.
Whoa.
It's milling time.
How many are in the main deck for Viktor?
40.
Okay, so we'll see 19 cards straight to the graveyard here. Obviously, it would be 20 if he'd opened with the grass, but takes 1 out searching for it. What can he hit with these 19? We saw him mill 16 in game 1, and that was putting in a lot of work. Yeah. If he can do anything like that again here, it's going to be an uphill battle for Viktor.
But all the wolves were already gone. Maybe he's sided into Dragon Rulers.
That'd be a bit good.
It's going to be his alternative.
Judge?
It's going to be his new strategy. He's like, yeah, I've got to shock the world.
Summon Blaster. What?
I want to see a zombie Kuribo that you can banish from the graveyard to negate an attack. And I know there are cards that do that, like Necrogardener.
We have a Kuribo that does almost exactly that. It's Rainbow Kuribo.
Yeah. No, that's shiny and rainbowy. I want a zombie.
A zombie one.
Yeah, with like out in the world and trying to find brains of other Kuribos maybe.
What should we call it? Skelly Kuribo?
Let's see. We got there's
5 misses.
Yeah, so
10
far.
misses.
Oof.
5 can't see. Oh no, we can't see on the screen.
1 hit, 2 hits, and 4 more. That was dire.
Oh my. Oh my.
Wasting no time. That was
2
dire.
for 4 mages.
Yeah.
He'll be able to special summon the Trick Clown, and he can use the effect of Damage Juggler in the grave to search for a Hat Tricker. But 3 level 4 monsters as the entire output of your turn 1 hand. Not the one.
No.
Like he now needs the Wayback Machine. Like 10 years ago, this would have been okay.
That was quite a lot of miss as far as I'm concerned for that Grasshook screener.
The only positive that he can take from this is that he does have plenty of fuel.
Yeah. Yeah.
The grass was definitely not greener.
Yeah. It's very fair to say.
We only ever talk about the times that the dog jumps over the fence and eats the grass and is happy about it. We never talk about those times where he jumps over and the grass doesn't
and
taste very
falls
nice.
into a trap hole.
Yeah, exactly.
In that case, a bottomless trap hole
Yeah.
almost. Yeah. Oh, so 9 minutes, 30 seconds remaining on the clock. And a very weak opening for Jakob Geigenberger in the third game of round number 6 of YCS Bochum. Meanwhile, it's 8 p.m. And if we add up the extra time after that round, we're looking at 9 p.m. to start round 7. And I think it's very safe to say that round number 8 is not going to take place today.
I don't know.
You don't know?
We'll see.
You want to be here until 1 a.m.?
Yeah.
A desperation maneuver there, shut down by
Swiftly
the
moving on. Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, the maneuver. Maneuver could have been the salvaging to this grasslock screener, but alas, the effect veiler.
Stop her dead in her tracks.
Yeah, just like Tom did for our conversation about round 8.
Well, I'm here for so long as we've got games to watch.
Yeah.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. The thing you didn't mention is that we all changed to this table.
Yeah, that's the problem.
All right. So, what is Viktor looking for here? He's got a couple of puzzle pieces already.
Yeah, I think set rotation is enough to be able to do some stuff here. He can be able to summon Masterpiece.
Mm-hmm. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit.
That's nice.
Is his top deck?
Yeah, I think set rotation, get the Dragonic Diagram, go search for Heritage, and summon Masterpiece.
That Minerva looks awfully lonely.
Yeah.
She didn't bring any friends to the party.
No. Usually Minerva gets lots of friends.
Where's your +1 Minerva?
Yeah.
We knew that those were the two that he was gonna get. Now he needs to decide which way around they'll be.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very true. I didn't even contemplate that he may go for the ABC option. What do you think is going to be best here?
It would have been worthwhile taking the hanger if and only if C wasn't the piece in his hand. Because if he had normal summoned an A or a B and equipped the C to that, he would then be able to summon a different piece from his hand and have all 3 available to him, and get to the ABC Buster Dragon, banish the Minerva. It won't trigger its effect. Really strong move. But given that C is the piece in his hand, he won't even be able to force the snow because there's just nothing threatening in that play.
Yep.
So we see Diagram coming down here, destroy the snow, gets 1 search. Possibly for a True Draco spell.
Yeah, I think it's got to be for a spell here.
That would enable him to set the C, activate the spell, extra tribute summon, and he'll have a Masterpiece that is immune to spell and monster effects.
Yeah. Minerva could still take out the Diagram, though. But I think that's okay.
The Diagram's done its job at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we do know that there are only 2 Lightsworn monsters left in the deck for Jakob, so...
Yeah, it's highly unlikely he's going to hit those. But to be honest, he's been saving up his luck after that grasslock screen. So, it's possible.
What was that a sound effect that you've been practicing?
Yeah.
I think that quite accurately describes
Jacob's
the resolution of that first turn.
Hey, all I'm saying is, go Team Viktor.
It's true.
you two are happily on Team Jakob.
Although it was about the first game, and we said
that
Jakob.
Okay.
We even said like Jacob's going to take the first one. He's going to side in some crazy stuff. Viktor's going to win the second one. This is exactly what happened, by the way.
Yeah.
And then I said it's anybody's game in game 3.
I hadn't said anything about games 2 or 3, but
you're on Jacob's team. It was decided. Ollie decided for you.
okay, duly noted. Glad we've cleared that one up.
Yeah, good.
So things are looking very bright for Viktor.
Yeah.
With the clock reaching 5 more minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
But he might not even need all of that time.
No light swans.
Well, with a Fairy Tale Snow in graveyard and lots of things to be banished, there's plenty of opportunities to drag a few turns out, take a bit less damage here and there.
Yep.
There are cards that he can draw to get his way back into this game, but those number of cards are seriously dwindling when he mills things like his Gemnite Garnet. There's no Seraphonite plays available now. I think it's really he needs to find his way into the Dinosaur engine at this point.
Yeah. there's also a reasonable number of cards that Viktor's going to be able to draw next turn to be able to finish the game much more quickly, even with the snow.
Go, Jakob.
If we see any way to bait the effect of this masterpiece, we know that Jakob does have access to Utopia the Lightning.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so does Viktor now. He saw that card.
Yes.
Obviously, yeah. Just like us.
Viktor knows that it's there, but sometimes you have to use your effect of masterpiece.
There's also a torrential tribute face down for Viktor. Just some additional insurance.
The masterpiece is not immune to trap cards, though. It has monster and spell immunity. Monster immunity certainly very good for Viktor here. Spell immunity not so great, as it won't be protected in battles by the effect of Dragonic Diagram.
Yeah. Ideally, it would have been traps, but
Yeah. Can only wish for so much.
yeah, exactly.
When you're on a team with Luke.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, Viktor, we got this.
Right. So Jakob drew into a second. No, sorry, he did not draw into a second. This one, the cards on the table. Cards in hand is Performage, Hat Trigger together with a Giant Rex.
This, I think, is the first time all weekend that I think Saryuya is the answer. Special summon Hat Trigger, normal summon Giant Rex. Is he playing the Saryuya?
Didn't you earlier say that
Yes, he is.
it was good in Jörg Müller's deck?
Yeah, in the round one, it was good. And here again, it would be good because he doesn't have a good hand.
Right.
He barely has any hand at all.
Yeah.
That is a very fair observation, yeah. It's on point.
And he hasn't yet used his normal summon. He's just special summoned that Hat Trigger.
Jakob is really deciding what he's going to go for here.
Sets Giant Rex to his back row.
Judge. Again. First the blaster, now this.
Come on, Saryuya. Roll the dice.
Tom is willing him to play Saryuya here. Doesn't look like it's going to
Nope.
happen.
He's having none of it.
Tornado Dragon.
Tornado Dragon's an interesting one because it could potentially force an activation of the Masterpiece if he doesn't want to start losing his resources.
Yeah.
But to me, Tornado Dragon just feels like it's there to bait that Masterpiece activation.
Absolutely. He should just let this happen. Absolutely, just let this happen.
So here's a big surprise. Snow was sent to the graveyard. And Torrential Tribute got hit.
Yeah.
So many surprises here in this match. Viktor looks a bit nervous with his thumbs.
So Giant Rex will enable some Link plays. Obviously, we can't see any other Xyz plays with no extra Monster Zone available.
Yeah.
There could be a Decode Talker coming out here.
What would Decode Talker do here?
Decode Talker would actually be very strong here due to the mispositioning, in my eyes, of that Masterpiece.
That is true.
It only needs to point to two things, one on each side of the board, to be big enough to attack over it.
Yeah.
And just by activating the Snow Engrave and banishing the Giant Rex, and even the Trick Clown hasn't activated this turn. We saw it
at the end
the
of last
previous turn.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, the Decode Talker is going to make a big difference here.
All of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
With just 20 seconds left on the round as well, and both players being so low on resources.
Yeah, we've had that a couple of times this weekend, where players are really like playing down to the last card in hand or something. It's very interesting to see. This format seems to be very often like a war of attrition, really. Where it's all about like what's your next card, what's your top deck. I like that.
Yeah, I love it when decks generally have like a big opening against each other and then they fight for resources. I think it's cool.
Decode Talker for me was, for the second half of 2017, it was card of the year. It it feels very underrated, but everyone played it because it was so necessary for everything.
Yeah.
Particularly when we had Blackwing Gofu, it was a Link 3 that would give you 2 extra monster zones, and it wouldn't even take up your normal summon. And it's just enabled so many decks that rely on the extra deck to keep playing despite the changes with Master Rule 4.
Yeah, it's one of those signature cards of a new game mechanic. Like a Stardust Dragon when Synchro Monsters were first like becoming playable. In a way, Utopia, in a way, but not quite the same.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Torguide. Torguide was
wow. Yeah, Torguide.
the #1 card when Exceeds were first becoming playable.
Yeah, especially with the ruling.
Or differently put, Torguide was the reason why Exceed first got playable.
Yeah, especially with the Sangan ruling at the time.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
All right.
So yeah, choose to negate. It looked like he was saying he wants to negate Masterpiece, not that it makes a difference. But now the extra monster zone is free again.
Is this still in the main phase 1?
I would
Yeah,
think so.
No, I can't. Surely not, because he wouldn't use Masterpiece's effect before he attacks.
Yeah, I feel like you must be correct. I'm tempted to say if the Giant Rex and the Snow had been consolidated for the Utopia before going to the battle phase, he might have been able to guarantee attacking over that Masterpiece.
Yeah, because if he...
With a Decode Talker pointing to any other monster and the Utopia, even if one of the 2 monsters that it points to is destroyed by Masterpiece, there's still enough attack to get over it. But no, it seems like he hadn't yet gone to his battle phase because we just see 2 materials being detached.
Oh, odd. Surely,
Well,
surely you would only use Masterpiece effect when it's attacked.
Right. But we're now in overtime. And suddenly, this is not looking so bad for Jakob anymore. In fact, it's looking quite good for Jakob.
Yeah.
Well, what's happening, Team Viktor?
I don't know why he used Masterpiece before it was attacked. I feel like we must be missing something, but yeah, I think that's actually gonna be the big difference here.
That Fairy Tail Snow just keeps bringing back, it keeps coming back.
Fairy Tail Snow. I was going to say. Feels like a premature interruption from the judge there, as Jakob chooses his 7 cards to banish for the effect of Snow. He wanted to change and banish the Utopia Lightning from his extra monster zone so that he'd be able to consolidate in the main phase 2, but the judge said, nope, you've already chosen your 7, you can't banish that one from your extra monster zone.
Right.
To me, it felt like he was still choosing his 7 at that point, but the judges feel like once you picked your cards, you picked your cards.
Depends on like if you let go of them or not. Like it's a lot about little things.
Generally, yeah. There's I know back when I was judging just a couple of years ago, we had the same with Exceed monsters. Depending on, it's very situational. Like Exceed monsters, for example, as soon as both monsters have been put on top of each other into a single zone, that was considered an intent to Exceed summon, and then you have to Exceed summon there.
Right, right.
Similar to Synchros, as soon as you put the monsters in the graveyard, that's the intent to Synchro summon. So I'm unsure exactly what the judges are going along with Snow at this point. But clearly, Jakob had gone past the point at which the judges felt comfortable for him to go back.
Right. Which is fair.
Yeah,
you want to ensure that everybody's playing in a fair environment and the same rules are being applied to all players.
You just hit the nail on the head just there. Consistency. I think if all the judges are doing the same break-off points, then that's completely fine.
Right. Okay. So, like we said, Team Jakob on the upper hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Team Viktor not doing so well right now, with only Torrential Tribute and Draconic Diagram.
He's not even got Torrential Tribute anymore, is he?
The Torrential Tribute is gone. He has
no, I just drew Torrential.
True King's Return, I thought it was.
Okay, yeah, it is. It is.
The True King's Return at this point is able to special summon back the Masterpiece from the graveyard, but its effect is negated. And he can't special summon for the rest of the turn, but that's not going to make a big difference here.
No.
Yeah.
Do you think this is going to actually turn it around here?
Uh,
With True King's Return?
No.
because of the lack of effect.
And because of the ability to start making plays with dinosaurs. Send the Overtex Coatless, search for the double evolution pill, get yourself a bigger dinosaur than Masterpiece.
Oh. That's definitely going to put Masterpiece in its place.
Yeah. Masterpiece is no longer the biggest boy in town.
Nope. It's all about the Tyranno.
This is a really good deck.
Yeah,
This is
I love this with
a
the
really good
dinosaurs
deck.
as well. That's very clever. Overtex is just so good.
I like that we had so many versions of this deck now.
Yeah.
It seems like they just keep coming.
Yeah,
It's just-
I really love how almost every single round we've had different things. Even if it's been, you know, similar archetypes, it's been different variations on it.
So at this point, Jakob knows exactly what's on the other side of the field and go straight to his double evolution pill. I think we'll see the ultimate conduct. Oh no, Overtex Coatless coming out here. So this is able to, once per turn during either player's turn, negate the activation of a spell or trap card
Yeah.
by destroying or tributing a dinosaur from your hand or field. Or
You
is it
can
just
destroy one dinosaur monster in your hand or face up on your field if you do negate the activation. And if you do that, destroy that card. And if it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add one evolution pill spell, of course, from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect
Each
once per turn.
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this effect. The spell to your hand, I think.
Okay, so the on-field effect is once per turn
It's
per
also once
copy,
turn, yeah.
but the center grave effect is once per turn, regardless how many copies.
Yeah.
Oh, Tom, it's happening again. He's making a sorry.
I blinked. Why is all of his field gone?
He lost all of his stuff. Oh no, okay, he's making borrow loads.
Trick Clown comes back as a little blocker at the cost of 1,000 life points. Well, at the effect damage of 1,000 life points.
Yeah, that's key.
Mm-hmm.
1,000 Blades would have corrected you quite quickly.
But we did see the 1,000 Blades being banished turn 1 for the left arm offering,
Yeah.
along with 2 Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, we would have seen him coming back.
After that rough start, it's interesting to see that Jakob is in such good shape.
Yeah, this has really gone backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
This last game. It looked like it was done and dusted quite quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a merit to Viktor's play and his deck here that he's been able to keep in so long.
You mean Viktor or Jakob? 'Cause
Viktor.
Jakob was the one with the rough start.
No, Jakob grassed, didn't he?
Jakob had
The left
grass, but it was left arm for grass, and
Yeah,
he
then
didn't
it-
hit much at the time. It
Yeah.
looked like it was a bit of a whiff on the grass. He ended up with just 2 Perform Mages and a Fairy Tale Snow at the end of his first turn.
Yeah.
I mean, that Snow is putting an extra back ever since.
Yeah.
That Snow is the MVP of the month.
Yeah, so we really thought that Jakob was going to do well, and then suddenly Viktor was in control, and now back to Jakob.
Yeah.
I wonder what the players are waiting on at this point.
I was just about to say the same thing.
I think it's
I wonder what
judge's
they're
ruling,
discussing.
isn't it? Waiting
sure.
for head judge.
Ah, okay.
We even have the message by Kiwi.
Ah, didn't see it.
So there's an appeal going on. Doesn't really change anything in terms of where we are in overtime already anyway.
Oh! Seems that there's been some slow play at the table, according to the judges.
Okay, and it's not just the first slow play, it's the second slow play.
Yeah. I wonder which player it was.
I think it was Viktor's turn, or was it? No, it's Jacob's turn.
Even the turn doesn't matter.
No, but it's more likely that the player whose turn it is gets
Yeah,
the slow
true.
play warning. So I think
More likely to be Jakob.
yeah, that's what I would guess.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, this is one of those times when the thing goes up and down, and so many times it's really hard to tell. if a player was playing slow or not, because we're like focusing on different things the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. So we're currently waiting for the head charge in our feature match of round number 6. It happened that the table judge Kiwi was handing out a slow play warning to one of the players, which we weren't aware of.
Yeah.
Which usually they don't tell us that right away because it's usually not that important.
Yeah.
But now we're in the situation where the slow play warning gets upgraded because there's a second slow play warning in the same game.
Yeah.
Same match, same game. In that case, it doesn't make a difference.
Same yeah, as long as it's in the same tournament.
So that would obviously the upgrade would be a game loss.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah,
depends.
Very likely, and I would guess that the player appealed, because if
maybe
if
so
the judge says, "Hey man, I'm gonna game loss you now," this is normally the moment in time when the player says, "Okay, can you check with your head judge?"
Yeah, the process will be that our feature match judge will first check with the head judge and explain that they may want to upgrade. That a higher level judge must upgrade it, so that can't be done by our feature match judges. And then from that point, that's when the appeal process may start, depending on if the players decide to.
The thing is, slow play is always a bit of a question of interpretation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yes.
I think we have a resolution, so maybe let's go back to the feature match.
Okay. So.
And here we see Jakob continuing with his turn.
So we don't have the resolution of that judge call yet. I would guess that the upgrade didn't happen.
Probably not if
either way,
the play continues.
They are playing
okay,
faster now.
Yeah, no upgrade.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, that does mean, however, if another slow play penalty is applied at some point during the tournament, I think Jakob will almost certainly get an upgrade at that point.
Right.
That's generally how the penalty system works. It's never an open and closed case. It's usually a case by case basis.
We're seeing the Castell here to deal with the Dragonic diagram.
Just in case.
I'm surprised that the Fairy Tale Snow wasn't used there, just as means of getting it back into the graveyard so its effect could be used again.
Yeah. So, this is now the start of time. I think we had, because of the slow play warnings, we had a bit of a time extension.
Right. Because I thought like this is the first extra turn. But like you said, probably because of that extra time that was handed out. Slow play warning almost always, like in I think like 95% of cases, are being like mitigated in a way by getting some extra time.
Yeah. Whenever a slow play penalty is applied, immediately you get a number of minutes, usually 3 minutes added to the game.
Which sounds like a good resolution. Okay. So True King's return to bring back that heavy hitter, that masterpiece. He's not going to do that much right now.
The Borreload Dragon will be able to use its effect to reduce the stats so that Overtex Coatless can attack over it, I believe.
Yeah, Viktor is shaking his head.
Dragonic Diagram will only protect from battle if the monster is tribute summoned. Can we pull up the text on that one?
Dragonic Diagram. They gain 300 attack and death, while True Draco and True King, the first time each tribute summoned.
Okay, no, the protection is regardless of how it was summoned.
No, each time.
First time each tribute summoned.
Okay, so yeah, there was no protection there from battle, so I feel like the Borreload Dragon could have used its effect to reduce the defense of Masterpiece and allow the Overtex to attack over it. But perhaps Jakob didn't see that one.
Yeah, sometimes it's these cards that you always use for the same stuff. You don't think of the other options.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the Overtex effect, destroying itself to negate the effect of Diagram and destroy it.
Yeah.
Negate the activation, rather. Checking to see whether he has another double evolution pill to search. And if he does, he'll get that. Because the Overtex itself was sent to the graveyard by a card effect. It's not a cost to tribute, it destroys itself with its card effect.
So here's an attack with Masterpiece.
Again, we see Borreload just not using its effect.
Yeah.
If he'd used the effect both turns, the Masterpiece wouldn't even have had enough attack points to deal with that Castell.
It's interesting.
Yeah, we've seen a
I
bit of
wonder
misusage
why.
of Borrello Dragon this tournament so far.
So yeah, it is a permanent reduction of attack and defense. I don't think it's going to make a big difference here. We're going to see Jakob swinging in with a lot of things for a lot of damage.
It reminds me of those descriptions of the Pendulum Magician deck that you gave earlier, Thomas, where you said like the deck is very forgiving. You can make mistakes, but there are still so many searches and so many effects that get you on the right track.
Here the Borrello Dragon is likely to take control of that
Yeah.
Masterpiece.
Maybe that was the plan all along. He wanted to make sure he can use it
Here we go.
to get victory with it.
Finally, Viktor has decided it's
Yeah.
over.
He was like, yeah, I've had enough of this. All right, guys, let's talk about that match in the post-match analysis. Yeah, that was quite the thriller between Viktor Trautwein and Jakob Geigenberger. It was going back and forth between those two.
Yeah, that last match was awesome.
Yeah, it was a bit like a marathon. It was definitely not a sprint. It was definitely a marathon, and for some reason they had hills in that marathon. It was going up and down the whole time.
Absolutely.
So, not exactly what we expected to see.
No, we've said this a few times already. Well, I keep going on about it. That we've had various decks that are the same archetypes, but with little difference.
Yeah.
Well, pretty big differences actually in these cases.
It's like a Lego set. You
yeah.
can, like get like some pieces from here,
Bit
some
of
pieces from there.
ABCs, bit of True Dracos.
Mix and match.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, ABC in the end was not successful. Viktor had quite enough at the very end. He was like, okay, this is finally over. I'm glad. On the other hand, we might be able to talk about those differences between those two decks that we saw back to back after the last round and after this round. So, what would you prefer, Thomas, if you had the choice between those two decks? We had one time we had the Lions Sworn.
Traditional zombie version.
With the zombies, and this time we see the dinosaurs. I think that it really changes the focus of whether you're reckoning to get most of your power from cards sent to the graveyard or most of the power from cards that you have on your field. The dinosaur monsters are really powerful on the field, and they can summon some huge monsters that don't even care about extra monster zones. You just put them straight into your main monster zone. You have huge attack points, and you have interaction. For the most part, the monsters that we use to interact on our opponent's turns tend to have been summoned from the extra deck.
Absolutely.
But this sort of reshapes that formula and gives you completely different set of options. I personally am a big fan of the dinosaurs. The ability to main deck a single kaiju that you can search with your Oviraptors, which you effectively have 6 copies of after Fossil Dig.
Right.
It just gives you such an interesting toolbox of options, ways to deal with powerful threats, and ways to extend your plays. You can summon your Oviraptor and just send Overtexcoatless direct to the graveyard. The card having the option to either add to hand or send to grave makes it such a versatile choice.
So it sounds like you're more of a fan of the Light Sworn dinosaurs.
Yeah, I think that's the one that I prefer, but I've seen both decks doing very well.
I'm a gambling man. I would play the Light Sworn zombies. It seemed.
Yeah, I must say I do. I really like the. Not that I don't like the dinos. I'm just saying I like the Shiranuis. You know, just in general, I think they're pretty
nice
cool.
synergies there.
Yeah,
Definitely
especially
some really
between
nice synergies.
between the Light Swans and the Shiranuis.
But both of these strategies, very much viable strategies. Jakob still undefeated now after 6 rounds. And in the round before, we also see Light Sworn zombies very much like well positioned in that field, apparently.
Yeah.
Like much more than we thought going into the match. All right, guys. It's time to talk a little bit about stats because obviously those are shaping up nicely. Here is the country breakdown at the start of the day. You can tell that's a very big tournament. We're talking about the largest European tournament of all time. 1,205 players from Germany alone, and then all the other countries together adding up another 800 players almost, 750 to be exact. And now after 5 rounds, this is what it looked like at the start of round number 6. As always, Italy, really, really good conversion rate.
Yeah,
we went from 107 players down to 93. I mean, they had some losses, but this is pretty good. When you compare it to the Netherlands, for example, they lost 27 players compared to Italy's 14 players. So as always, Italy is hanging in there really, really strongly. No surprise that Germany is bleeding the most, because if you send the most players, you are always the ones with the most losses.
Yeah.
This is how it works at these events.
There's also something to be said for the types of players that come to the event. So at the start of the event, everyone is still in the mix. Towards the end of the day one, the only people that you lose are the competitive players who are out of contention. The competitive players that remain in the game are still playing, and the casual players are also still playing.
Right.
So with Germany bringing so many, a lot of those people, as you say, this being the most densely populated part of Germany, there'll be people that say, hey, there's a YCS nearby, let's all go along and play.
Right.
So you'll have a lot of the German players at the top who are still in, but also a lot of the German players who are here for a very fun day out, and they want to get the most of their YCS experience.
Right. But we can expect Italy to move up in relative numbers.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Over the course of this entire weekend.
Yeah, we pretty much always see that, don't we, Ollie?
Particularly with people that have had to travel a far distance to get here, you won't have such a large number of those slightly more casual players, because the cost is prohibitive if you just want to have a fun tournament.
Yeah. So France losing 16 players, also really, really good in relative numbers. The UK losing 24 players, not so good in relative numbers. And Belgium 16. So basically France and Belgium lost the same amount of players, same number of players, but France with more players in the tournament means
generally,
percentage-wise it's good. And then Switzerland was going down from 52 to 37, that is 15 players drop. Austria, only 6 players dropped out. That's also really, really good. And then Spain is sneaking into the tops, because Spain wasn't even on our list before. Just trying to figure out who they kicked off.
I think we might just have
we
more
just have
data now.
We have we have more screen size for whatever reason. Okay, guys, let's talk about the metagame breakdown. We were surprised to see that the top 3 or 4 decks, which typically make up around 40% of the entire field, only make up like 25% of the field this weekend, or a bit more. But speaking again in relative numbers, the other category is like a lot bigger than it used to be.
Yeah.
Let's compare that to the numbers going into round 6. So this is after 5 rounds of Swiss. Pendulum Magician from 270 down to 207. So they lost quite a few players.
Yeah.
Trickster from 174 to 135. I think in relative numbers,
that's pretty good.
Less of a drop.
Yeah. Same for True Draco.
Same for True Draco from 165. Lights One Zombie Grass from 137 to 100. That's also pretty big in relative numbers. Pendulum FTK from 96 to 71. And then we see Paleozoic Frog, who wasn't even in our list before, now the 6th most popular deck. So that's, in relative numbers, that is obviously a big jump.
Pretty good, if it's been able to jump.
And we see that ABC has been kicked out of the rankings here.
Right. Yeah. ABC lost in favor of some of these players, and Dinosaurs, who had 69, down to 48. So far the story here is that Paleozoic Frog was a good choice for the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it moves up in relative numbers. Trickstar didn't lose that many players, and everybody else just lost like roughly the same amount of decks.
Yeah, I heard a lot of the CCG guys are playing Paleozoic Frogs.
Right. Okay, guys, that's it for the quick stat breakdown late in the day. We're going to have the next one tomorrow morning, I think. With that, we're going to take a very quick break, try to do an interview if there's still time in the round, and then we're going to be back, of course, with round number 7.